Whether you are looking for a dog-friendly vacation or moving with a dog cross-country, the prospect of traveling with large dogs can feel both daunting and crazy. In this video, I will be sharing with you my top 5 tips from my recent personal experience that will help you maintain your sanity should you be considering a road trip with your big dogs. Hi. I'm Stephanie, aka Big Dog Mom, and on my channel I share tips and tutorials to help you and your big dog live your best life together. If you are interested in learning more about what it takes to live with and care for a large or giant breed dog, consider subscribing to my channel and hit that like button if you like this video. In this video, I will share with you the top 5 most important keys to successfully traveling with your large dog. There is a link in the description to the blog post which goes into much more detail about each of these 5 tips, so be sure to check that out. I also created a pre-travel checklist you may find very helpful as you plan your own road trip. It contains 24 dog-related action items to assist you in your planning and preparation, with a notes section for you to jot down phone numbers or other key information for your trip. And if you have a dog who is afraid of riding in the car or suffers from stress and anxiety, stick with me until the very end when I will share with you some bonus tips, as I know this is a very common issue for dog owners. Okay, let's get started. The first key to successfully traveling with a large dog is preparation. Preparation. In the blog post linked below, I cover all aspects of travel safety in the car with big dogs. So the tools and products you will need, such as a seatbelt or harness, a gate or barrier, car travel crates, for example, and any method of getting large dogs into and out of the vehicle, such as a ramp or, my favorite, the twist step. But preparation for you may mean investing in one or more of those. So please go to the blog post linked below in the description to get much more information about travel safety for large dogs. For our purposes here, let's cover preparation at a high level. Preparation can mean many different things depending upon what type of travel you are doing with your large dog. So let's discuss some possible scenarios, and I will give you a few tips for each. Okay, the first scenario is you're traveling for a few days to a week. While the most simple of the 3 scenarios, traveling long distance, even for just a couple of days with a big dog, involves some planning and preparation. Consider your destination, the routine needs of your dog, such as food, medication, your dog's behavior, weather, and how many hours you will be traveling each day. You will need to prepare food and medication, make hotel arrangements, and pack your essentials bag. And we will discuss more about the essentials bag, and I'll show you what's in mine here in just a minute. If your dog will be riding in the car for more than a few hours at a time on this road trip, consider conditioning them to long car rides ahead of time. Again, more on that in a minute. Okay, so the second scenario is a long distance road trip for 7 or more days. Longer road trips require a little more pre-planning. Depending upon how long you will be gone, you may want to arrange for a routine vet visit beforehand to discuss any needed immunizations or medications your dog will need. Inform your veterinarian about where you are traveling, as there may be some geographical health considerations that you need to be aware of, like Lyme disease, valley fever, or canine influenza. You will also want to plan to have more food on hand, or at least have the opportunity of buying dog food at your destination. Don't be surprised if your dog's appetite is thrown off, or if he chooses to skip a meal here and there. That, in my experience, that's totally normal. Okay, the third scenario, moving cross-country, which is what we did. The prospect of moving to a new state can be daunting, to say the least, especially if you have children and or big dogs. Don't expect to get much sleep in the weeks leading up to your move. With so many competing priorities and action items, it's easy to get lost or overwhelmed. In addition to everything I've already mentioned, you will want to provide a forwarding address to your veterinarian, as well as contact your state or county where your dog is licensed to let them know you are moving. I also recommend getting all of your pet's medications refilled a few days beforehand to give you time to get established with a new veterinarian and a new pharmacy. If you are moving with a large dog, definitely grab that pre-travel checklist that is linked in the description. It will save you so many hours of overwhelm and sleepless nights, let me tell you. The second key to successfully traveling with a large dog is to have easy access to your travel essentials. There is nothing worse than 5 minutes after leaving a rest stop being forced to pull over yet again to retrieve something stored overhead in the car carrier. My best advice is to try and consider anything and everything you might possibly need access to for your dogs and keep it in a bag or safely stored nearby. Call it a go bag, an essentials bag, or a mom's bottomless pit bag, which is what my kids call it. This is the bag that contains your most essential items you need to have on hand at all times, whether for convenience or emergency. Big Dog Mom tip here. If you have children, consider empowering them to pack their own go bags so that they can begin to be responsible for their own stuff. My car travel bag contains just dog-related items, as my purse stores more of my personal belongings. Here are just a few of the items I don't leave home without when I am traveling with my big dogs. So obviously a leash, a collar or harness. So check the description for my complete guide to harnesses for large dogs. You'll want to have vet records, including your dog's immunizations, dog bowls, one for each dog. Drool cloths, you can never have too many of those. Poop bags, of course. Treats, I use dehydrated liver. Real Dog Box is fantastic, and those work really well for travel. A clicker or a squeaker to keep your dog's attention if needed. I always bring a Dremel and styptic powder or Quick Stop. Yes, I am a nail fanatic. A few toys or balls, so you can check bigdogmom.com for a great toy guide for large dogs. I also bring Gas-X, a probiotic, which we'll talk about in a minute, Bloat Kit. Of course, I always keep that on hand as well, and you can read a full blog post about bloat on bigdogmom.com. You'll want to make sure that you have prescription medications, including any allergy meds or melatonin, which we will discuss in a minute. I also bring alcohol or hydrogen peroxide and maybe some betadine for minor first aid. Okay, the third key to successfully traveling with a large dog: maintain your routine and patience the best you can. Consider that the longer your road trip, the more your dog will be out of his or her normal routine. This can cause disruptions in appetite, gut and bowel issues, anxiety, and stress in some dogs. To minimize potential behavior or health issues, I recommend starting a probiotic in advance, bringing water from home, which is something a lot of people don't think about, and bringing some of your dog's bedding or soft toys for comfort and familiarity. Feed your dog as close to his or her normal schedule as possible while on the road. Now is not the time to start a new food or try a new treat. Anything new that you buy for your trip or for your move should be introduced before you leave. That includes any items that require conditioning, such as a crate, a harness, a seatbelt, as well as anything edible. And finally, be patient with your dog while you travel. Every trip with my dog is an imperfect adventure. When you react to the simple fact of life with humor and ease, your dog will as well. We are nearing the final stretch here, and it's time for our dogs to stretch as well. The fourth key to successfully traveling with a large dog is stop frequently for exercise. Plan your stops so that you are able to provide ample exercise and potty time at each one. And better yet, map your route to schedule in extended times when your dog can burn off energy through play, running, hiking, etc. Find a local park, hiking trail, or an open field where you can safely let your dog off leash or on an extended non-retractable leash. After all, a tired dog is a happy dog. The added advantage of doing this is that most dogs enjoy meeting and interacting with new people and new smells. Allowing your dog the freedom to do what they do best as a social scent hound will ensure your dog is comfortable and content to sit or sleep quietly until your next stop. And lastly, for my dog owners whose dogs suffer from fear, stress, or anxiety when riding in the car, the fifth key to successfully traveling with a large dog is to relieve dog stress and dog anxiety. Okay, so how do you do that? Here are a few resources I found particularly helpful on the topic of how to cure car anxiety in dogs. I've broken them down to three categories: behavioral supplements, behavioral modification, and behavioral management. Let's first talk about a couple of supplements that may help calm your dog down if he or she is anxious or fearful of riding in the car. The first one is a probiotic. I have several blog posts and a couple of videos on probiotics, so I'm not going to cover them in detail here. After you watch this video, check the description for the links and the videos that cover them in probiotics in more depth. For now, researchers studying the use of probiotics to help with behavioral issues in dogs are increasing. They are finding that what's in the gut affects behavior, and modifying what's in the gut can modify behavior as well. While it may not be a silver bullet for your dog's fear, anxiety, or stress, the potential health benefits are proven. How the probiotic affects your dog's behavior is something I would love to hear about in the comments below. One great probiotic option for calming a reluctant traveler is called Calming Care Canine by Purina. I do not have this product here to show you, but I'll throw a picture up and I'll give you the links in the description. Calming Care contains a proprietary probiotic strain of bifidobacterium to help dogs maintain calm behavior, cope with external stressors like separation, unfamiliar visitors, novel sounds, or changes in routine and location. Keep in mind, you will want to start your dog on Calming Care 4 to 6 weeks before traveling. The second supplement that I'd like to talk about is melatonin. I mentioned it before. In addition to Calming Care, you may consider keeping some melatonin on hand. Melatonin for dogs is both safe and effective. While there aren't many studies done in animals, anecdotal evidence shows that melatonin works to treat behavioral and sleep issues as well as specific types of hair loss. I started giving Junior melatonin for his patchy hair loss, which is called non-allergic alopecia, and noticed that when he took it, he became more calm and sleepy than normal. Hard to believe, I know. Melatonin is not going to drastically alter your dog's behavior, but it may help take the edge off in a dog that suffers from stress or anxiety in the car. Melatonin takes about 1 to 2 hours to take full effect, so you will want to dose it accordingly. Now, keep in mind, consult your veterinarian for specific dosing for your dog and any health considerations for your dog before you give melatonin. While it's safe and it's a natural supplement, there are some dogs who should not take it. Okay, my second tip for dogs who are afraid of riding in the car or who suffer from stress and anxiety is to condition them to the car ahead of time. So the behavioral modification we're talking about is called conditioning. Ideally, this will start when your dog is a puppy. Socialization both in and out of the car is vital for the health and well-being of your dog. So start early if you can. Make every trip an amazing one with tons of treats, praise, and fun. Never ever force your puppy into situations or places he or she is fearful of. Check out my playlist on raising large and giant breed puppies, and you will find some phenomenal stuff on socialization in there. Make sure you check that out if you have a puppy. For now, let's assume you have an adult dog who just needs to get used to riding in the car for long hours at a time. Conditioning in this situation is nothing more than increasing the duration of time in the car the weeks leading up to your trip. For example, start with a 45 to 60-minute drive to a dog-friendly place near you where your dog is rewarded with adventure, exercise, and lots of treats. Increase the drive time over a few months to 2 to 3 hour long trips where, again, your dog is rewarded with fun and love at each stop. After a few short day trips, your dog should be well familiar with what it means to be a good canine companion on the road and the joy of the adventure that awaits. And lastly, we'll talk about the worst case scenario. That is more for dogs at the extreme end of the spectrum who suffer from extreme fear, aggression, and other reactivity issues that make them miserable when faced with new places and new people. Behavioral management for car anxiety, and this is where we talk about avoidance of stressors. My Linus was in this group. I shared my experience with him on bigdogmom.com, so I won't go into detail here, but he was what I would call fear aggressive, though that description fails in so many ways to truly tell his story. Here's the point. Sometimes you will need to manage your dog's behavior by avoiding the things that stress them out, and there's nothing wrong with that. For me, that was avoiding trips in the car as much as I could. His car rides became less and less frequent, and in the end, we were limited to essential trips to the vet only. He still suffered from demons, but those demons were fewer when he was at home. Consider your specific dog, though, and determine whether he or she would truly enjoy the trip you're planning. Patricia McConnell has a terrific blog post where she says, quote, "Some dogs are neophobic, afraid of new things. Some dogs would love a week in a cabin in the woods, but hate the city, or vice versa. Some dogs can't wait to play with your grandchildren, others, not so much." So keep that in mind. I hope this helps give you some tools and ideas for your dog that is a less enthusiastic traveler. I hope you found these 5 tips for how to travel with large dogs helpful. As a bonus, in the blog post linked below, I share the best hotels that allow large dogs, as well as some tips for raw feeders. Feeding a raw diet on the road may sound impossible, but it can be done. So check out the post if you're interested in learning more about those topics as well. Don't forget to download your free pre-travel checklist if you are planning a road trip. And I set up a section in my Amazon shop for all of the products I mentioned, as well as everything in the blog post. So if you are in need of anything, that may save you some time. The link for that is in the description below. And with that, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't done so already, and hit that like button if you like this video. Stay tuned right now for a few more laughs, and we will see you in our next video. Bye for now. Come on, guys. Let's go. Zoe, Joni, come on. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Good job, Joni. Good job.